this money well spent for the Dodgers?
It absolutely is. You know, $30 million a year for a pitcher is unprecedented, but Clayton Kershaw is kind of an unprecedented type of pitcher. Multiple Cy Young winner, 25 years old. Yes, they have him locked up for the next 7 years, although he can opt out after 5. He can become a free agent again at the age of 30, which is still pretty young for a free agent pitcher. You know, this is just new ground, really, but I don't think that anyone is regretting this deal. This is something that the Dodgers could afford to do and had to do.
You know, I always flinch because the pitchers are fragile beings, and when we invest at that level in a pitcher, you hope that you're going to get all those years, but you don't know because the arm is so fragile. That said, I think it's a unique set of circumstances that this thing was kind of a no-brainer for the Dodgers. As much as 30.7 a year sounds, he seems like he's at the age and at the performance level that it's a pretty good investment, especially with the opt-out after 5. So I think, especially for a franchise desperate for headline names and to put a face of the franchise out there, I think the Dodgers actually made a pretty good move.
You mentioned, though, about the fragile nature of pitchers. I mean, you can look back to Johan Santana, was a 2-time Cy Young winner before he got his big deal, and that did not work out well for the Mets. You can look at Tim Lincecum, who was taking baseball by storm with 2-time Cy Young winner, and he hasn't had an ERA under 4 since he had trouble with his arm and his location, had to even go to the bullpen for a while. I guess, why do you think Kershaw could be different?
Look, every baseball player is fragile. You know, Albert Pujols seems like a disaster 2 years into a 10-year deal here. You know, would I risk, if I was going to risk on a pitcher, would I do it on a 25-year-old who's the best pitcher in the world? Yes, I would, especially if I were the Dodgers, who riches seem to know no bounds anyway. So
they also think he has good mechanics. Lincecum, everyone looked at it and said, matter of time before that delivery comes back to bite him. And I think if you're going to take a risk, this is the type of guy that you probably have to feel a little bit more confident than your typical star pitcher.
What kind of dominoes could this set into effect here? Because we know that the biggest negotiation going on in baseball right now is for Japanese import Masahiro Tanaka. Could Kershaw's deal somehow affect Tanaka?
Probably not. I think that there's so many teams on Tanaka that number was going to be huge anyway. I think the 3 guys who might be almost as happy as Clayton Kershaw this morning, though, are John Lester, Max Scherzer, and James Shields. Now that Kershaw will not be a free agent next winter, those are the 3 big names on the market. Are they $30 million a year pitchers? No, but each of them is certainly a $20 million pitcher, $20 million a year pitcher now. And I don't think this market's done. I mean, I think that we're going to see this thing escalating and escalating throughout this year and for the years to come.
Yeah, you're not going to see a run of $30 million a year pitchers, but it is the old rising tide lifts all boats. It's going to help their deals. It's going to give them at least something to kind of start with and then base their performance against his. No one's matching that, but I do think it was a good development. Ben's right.
With only a $20 million posting fee for Masahiro Tanaka, do you think the Dodgers would go after him?
Yeah, I think they'll be in it. I don't think they'll get him. I still think that the Yankees have to be considered the front runners, although, you know, we're looking at the Cubs, the Mariners, the Diamondbacks. This is obviously a very attractive player who's younger than Clayton Kershaw. You know, a guy who is in an even better position than Tanaka now, this is a couple years down the line, is Mike Trout, right? Like, we look at Clayton Kershaw at this age getting $30 million a year as a pitcher. Say 2 years from now, a younger Mike Trout who's an everyday player, what's he going to get? $40 million a year, $400 million contract? I mean, you know, this is just the tip of the iceberg.
It's going to be a ridiculous number for Trout, and I thought I read 2018 is where he is free agent eligible, so he might get that deal earlier than that.
Yeah,
but yeah, everyday player, no comparison to the impact that he brings. And I think when he's up for free agent, he's going to be 25. Yeah. So it's going to be a windfall with a capital W.
Yeah. I thought as soon as Ben brought up the Yankees that all of a sudden we were going to hear booze. Dogs would start throwing rotten fruit.
As a Red Sox fan, my default setting is I assume that they're going to get Tanaka. That's where I start. I actually don't think the Dodgers are going to be into him too seriously. I mean, when you've got Greinke, Ryu, you know, they still have Beckett hanging around, Billingsley. They simply don't have enough slots. So I would be shocked if they went into him for 140, 150 million, which is probably what it's going to take.
Well, they have Dan Herron too, but let's remember last year at this time, it looked like the Dodgers had 8 starting pitchers, right?
Yeah.
And they ended up not having enough.
Yeah.
So I think Ned Coletti, with that huge war chest at his disposal, knows, you know, there's never enough good starting pitching on your roster.